morning and welcome to a brand new edition of the newspaper show right here on ET Now. I'm Cheryl D'Souza and I'll take you through the top stories on the Economic Times as well as the Times of India this morning. But let's get started with what are the top headlines on Economic Times. We have first up, we will be talking about how the stock market reaction was yesterday, and that indeed is the top story on the Economic Times this morning, that the stocks tumble as stimulus fails to stir up the Dalal Street bulls, and that is indeed the top headlines coming in on the Economic Times this morning. What are the other headlines? You have banks that are batting for bad loan breather. Moving on, you have SBI proposes omnibus pact for fast loan rejigs. NBFCs are set to resume loan sanctions in June. Also, government may monetize debt if fiscal overshoots. Moving on, you have retailers. They are seeking MSME tag to get some government support. And the states to allow economic activities with some caveat. Let's talk about the e-commerce players then. The e-commerce is ready to load their cart with a non-essentials. This is on back of the lockdown 4.0 revised rules also. Moving on to coronavirus, you have China that is backing the call for an independent review on coronavirus, and ICMR revises testing plans as cases are mounting of coronavirus. So those are the top 10 headlines that's there on the Economic Times. But let me shift focus and let me talk about the top 5 corporate headlines that's there on the Economic Times. And first up, it is Bharti Airtel. They announced their Q4 earnings late last evening. They've logged consolidated Q4 loss of about approximately 5,200 crore rupees. Moving on, you have restaurants that are saying that we also need backing. That's the word coming in from the restaurants as they are feeling the pain due to the COVID-19 and the lockdown that followed due to that. You have auto industry that's also feeling left out. Travel and hospitality companies are warning of job cuts. And Interglobe Enterprises did not qualify for Virgin Australia, and that is as per report. So these are the top 5 corporate headlines this morning on the Economic Times. Now let's shift gears and let's see what are the top 5 market headlines this morning. And you have first up the NBFCs that are preparing to give fresh loans from June onwards. That is, I beg your pardon, to give fresh loans in June. You have Nifty that is likely to face selling pressure. Another story that's there on your ET Markets page, and that is why even a 20 lakh crore rupees failed to cheer up the Dalal Street, and that is like the top story on the ET Market page this morning. You have housing finance companies raise 5,475 crore rupees on improving sentiment, and defense stocks were the ones that were shining yesterday after there was a hike in the FDI limit that was announced by the finance minister as part of the stimulus package. So those are the roundup of all the top headlines as well as corporate and the market headlines that's there on your Economic Times. But let's get going with the top story this morning on your Economic Times, and that is Airtel. Bharti Airtel has announced their Q4 earnings yesterday, late last evening, when they came out with their Q4 earnings. And as per their earnings, you have your consolidated Q4 loss coming in at around 5,200 crore on back of one-time expense. So there you go. Consolidated net loss coming in for Bharti Airtel in a Q4. But let's talk more about the earnings and what do these numbers mean. You have Sunita Nakwal joining us this morning. Good morning, Sunita. Take us through Bharti Airtel's Q4 performance.
Bharti Airtel's Q4 performance has been better than expected. If you look at the top line has grown at 8.5% in this quarter, largely led by increased number of 4G customers. They've added really 12.5 million 4G customers in Q4. That's helped Also, the increased price that they have been charging after December, they announced a price hike in December. So as a result, their ARPUs have improved, which is average revenue per user has improved to 154 rupees versus 135 in the previous quarter. We were expecting this number at 147, but they've actually posted 154, which is highest ever ARPU that the company has ever seen. This has helped them in top line, and also the EBITDA margin. If you look at, we were expecting a 70 basis point improvement. They've actually done 90 basis point improvement, so that's much better than expected. But as far as bottom line is concerned, we were expecting a loss of 440 crores, but the company has posted a loss of over 5,000 crore. But this is largely because of an exceptional item, actually many exceptional item, and the net impact of exceptional item is over 5,000 crores. So as a result, the company has posted a net loss. Going forward, we will be watching out for the management commentary as to how they are expecting the prices to move from here on. Earlier expectation was that there will be a price hike in first quarter of 2021, but that looks unlikely with COVID situation. We'll have to watch and wait what the management has to say on that front.
All right, Sunita, thank you for joining us this morning, giving us a lowdown on Bharti Airtel's Q4 performance. We'll have to wait and watch how the stock reacts when the market opens today. But let's move on to another story that's there on page 1 of Economic Times, and that is banks are batting for bad loan breather. So what is this story about? I'll read it off directly from the paper for you guys. Banks have asked RBI to extend the bad loan recognition time to 180 days and loan moratorium by at least one more quarter. What is the bank's wish list to RBI? You have one is that relax your NPA classification to 180 days, extend moratorium on asset standstill by 3 months. Also, they are saying that allow one-time restructuring of stressed loans. They are also saying that treat loans to overdue accounts as standard. They are also asking for a special term loan package for sectors affected due to COVID-19. So that is exactly what the banks are batting for, and that is what the banks are asking the RBI. The story was filed with Saloni Shukla as well as Sachin Dave of Economic Times. So that is another big story coming in on ET papers. That is, the Indian Banks Association has asked the Reserve Bank of India to ease bad loan recognition norms to 180 days from current 90 days, and this is all as per sources. So we need to wait and watch and see when we get a confirmed news piece on that particular front. But as of now, banks have submitted their wish list to the RBI. But let's move on and let's keep it up with the financial space. And talking more about that particular space, you have NBFCs that are set to resume loan sanctions in June. That is a story that's there, or a small snippet of that story is there on the front page of your Economic Times. That is, the top NBFCs are set to resume sanctioning loans in June, with sentiment boosted by the stimulus and easing of the lockdown, even as they tread cautiously, aware of the fact that repayment capacities, may have weakened with job losses and income declines. This is a story coming in from the Economic Times reporters Saika Das and Atmadeep Ray. So you have that particular story, like you can see on your screen. Package easing, stimulus package and easing of lockdown likely to bring demand, especially from the rural as well as semi-urban areas. The NBFCs are seeking opportunities opening up. They see opportunities opening up, and hence preparing to give fresh loans in June onwards. So there you go. That's another story that's coming on the Economic Times this morning for you. All right, moving out from the financial space now to the e-commerce space. Right here on the Economic Times front page, you can see all the top stories coming in today in ET front page itself. You have e-commerce that are ready to load their cart with a non-essentials. Remember, you had the lockdown 4.0 rules come out, and in that there was a part where it said that they may allow e-commerce to go ahead and also sell non-essentials. even in the red zone, but not in the containment zone. So let's read more on that story. That's Economic Times say e-commerce is ready to load cart with non-essentials, but some companies are waiting for states to draw up their guidelines. But what else is written in the story? We are joined by my colleague Winnie, who will take us through the story. Winnie, take it away.
E-commerce companies are ready and they are loading their carts now with non-essential items as well. Indians online marketplaces like Amazon, FirstCry, Snapdeal, Nykaa, all of these companies have started taking orders for non-essential items as well, along with essential items. This is only all across the country except in containment zones. Now, even if you go to see Amazon, FirstCry and Nykaa, they began accepting orders on Monday all across the country. Flipkart Lenskart also opened up their orders for non-essential items only in select states, maybe which are not red zone or containment zones. Snapdeal, they said that they saw a 2.4 times increase in the order in volumes on Monday. So people are rushing to buy non-essential items as well as the online marketplaces open up. Now, deliveries of these non-essential items is newly permitted in regions from Tuesday. So let's see how that actually works out for these online companies. As of now, several states have given a nod for this, like Punjab, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana have given permission for full-fledged e-commerce transportations and deliveries except in containment zones. Now, obviously companies have started accepting orders for these non-essential items, but they are waiting for some further guidelines from the states, specifically, where can they be allowed to deliver. But as of now, they are accepting orders. So let's see how this actually works out.
All right, Vinny, thank you for taking us through that particular story that e-commerce looks like they're back in the game with them loading their cart with the non-essentials, something that they have been asking for a while, for a level playing field coming in for those particular firms. But let's move on and let's talk about Interglobe Enterprises right here on page 6 of your Economic Times. That is the story this morning, that Interglobe Enterprises did not qualify to bid for Virgin Australia, and that is all as per reports. But to join more on this particular story, what this means, we are joined by Utkarsh Chaturvedi. Utkarsh, take us through this particular story. Interglobe Enterprises did not qualify to bid for Virgin Australia.
This was apparently the firm by Rahul Bhatia, Interglobe Enterprises, which also is one of the majority owners of Interglobe Aviation, which had gone ahead looking for Virgin Australia and trying to bid. But we have been told now, and as the report has also said, that they weren't qualified. Now, why weren't they qualified? What we have been told is that the parent company of Indigo, Interglobe Enterprises, have declined to submit an indicative enterprise value for Virgin Australia, which was required by Deloitte, who's the administrator of the whole bidding process, and that is the reason it can be a possibility that they have not been shortlisted. Instead of them, there have been other people. In fact, Indigo Partners, Cyrus Capital Partner, Bain Capital, all the other suitors have been shortlisted, is what we have been told by this point of time. Interglobe Enterprises has not been shortlisted. And remember that Rahul Bhatia, who's the owner of Interglobe Enterprises, is also a majority owner of Indigo. And many say that, despite of showing some interest in Air India, Interglobe Enterprises was looking for Virgin Australia, given the fact that the company is a much better run company and has a lot of possibilities for a turnaround in the future.
All right, Utkarsh, thank you for joining us, taking us through that particular story. But let's shift focus now and let me take you through a story that's come on the Times of India. It's on the Times of India business page, and that is the Reliance Industries story. The Reliance Industries rights offer pay 25% upfront. That is the headline, but let me read more from the paper itself for you. The shareholders of Reliance Industries will have to pay 25% upfront to subscribe to the company's rights offering that is opening on Wednesday, with the remaining amount to be paid in 2 installments next year. RIL will issue 1 share at 1,257 rupees to existing shareholders for every 15 shares held by them in the company. The shareholders will have to pay beg your pardon, the shareholders will have to pay 314.25 rupees per share at the time of application, and the balance 942.75 rupees will have to be paid at a later stage. And of the 942.75, another 25% will have to be paid by next May and 50% by November. Remember, the 53,124 crore rupees rights issue by RIL closes on June 3rd. And if an applicant holds less than 15% share or does not have multiples of 15 shares, then the company has decided to allot him or her one additional rights equity share, provided a surplus stock is available. So that is the story coming in Times of India business page. That is that the shareholders of Reliance Industry will have to pay 25% upfront to subscribe to company's rights offering that is opening on Wednesday. So that is the corporate story that is coming in from the Times of India for you this morning. But let me shift focus now and let me talk about another story, and let me move to Economic Times back once again. And that is a story that's there on the Economic Times page 9 for you. Just give me a moment while I flip the pages and get you that particular story right off from the newspaper. And that is right here, right on the top. Here you go. That government may monetize debt if fisc overshoots. That is the word coming in from officials. That is what the Economic Times is attributing this particular story to. Experts are saying that the impact of the stimulus on government finances will be about 1% of the GDP. To talk more on this particular story, the story is actually saying is that the government may consider monetizing its borrowings if fiscal deficits overshoots expectations sharply. This is as per the government senior government official who's spoken to the Economic Times. They're also saying that the government has announced a 20 lakh crore rupees package to support the economy that has been under lockdown. And also the official moves on and goes on to say that there is no legal bar and there is no conceptual bar either when we have low inflation. We in fact have a situation of deficit demand. Also they are saying that this is not a situation where monetization will be inflationary. That is the word coming in from the officials. So the story right here on the Economic Times page is saying that government may monetize debt if fisc overshoots. But let's shift focus now and let's move on to tractors. The tractor segment is all set to bounce back with a strong demand. That is the story that is coming on your Economic Times. It's there on Economic Times, actually on page 6 of the Economic Times, which is talking about your tractor demand. That is all set to bounce back. Let me talk more on that particular story. The industry watchers have actually high hopes of the segment as the demand for the tractor outstrips the supply. What are the experts also? They are saying that the demand recovery, you see M&M is planning to restart the second shift at its factory. Escorts and Sonalika are expecting market to come back to normal in a quarter. Meanwhile, Escorts is saying that 40 to 50% of their demand lost in March and April has returned in the form of higher inquiries. So definitely a sigh of relief coming in for tractor industry, at least for now. On the surface, it looks like it. You have demand at least pouring in forms of inquiries for the tractor segment. The demand for tractors is rising as fertilizer sales and food grain production hit record highs. The reservoirs hold more water than 10-year average and normal monsoon is forecast. So there you go. Industry watchers have high hopes of the segment as demand for tractors outstrip the supply. So a breather, a sigh of relief, a ray of hope, you could say, for the tractor segment. But let's move on. And now let's shift focus to coronavirus and the top 5 headlines coming on coronavirus from the Times of India. And first up, let's talk about the total positive cases across India. India is at 1 lakh mark for positive cases after 190 days of reporting its first COVID-19 case. Moving on, your Maharashtra, the total tally there has topped 35,000. You have over 21,000 alone in Mumbai. BMC has come out with a regulation late last night where they're saying entire building or a society need not be sealed just for one COVID-19 positive case. Moving on, 8% of the migrants in Bihar have tested positive. The state is all geared up for a big surge in the numbers. And lastly, you have first vaccine that is tested in the United States shows promise, and on back of that one particular news, you even had the US markets rally overnight. So there you go. Those are the top 5 COVID-19 headlines coming in from Times of India this morning.